What's up everyone, Derek Krasinski here, your obstacle activist. And on this channel, I do race coverage, race reviews, hot topics, and product reviews just like this one. So if you're new here, consider subscribing. So on today's episode, I'm actually gonna be doing my first shoe review, and what other brand that I would do it on than my favorite, Altra Running. So I'm gonna be doing a review today on Altra's Superior 4.0, the predecessor of the Superior 3.5. So just a little bit of background on Altra. All Altra shoes have a wide toe box for a natural toe splay. Your traditional shoes kind of cramp your toes, and it's not really a natural movement or position for your feet, so Altra decided to widen that to give a more natural feel. They are also all zero drop shoes. Basically what that means is that from heel to toe, you have the same stack height and same cushion, so both your heel and your toe are on the same plane. A traditional running shoe gives it more cushion in the heel, but that's not as natural, so Altra likes to go with that natural feel. And Superior 4.0s, they stick right in line with those. These two things together help improve your running form and take a heel striker and turn them into a forefoot striker, which is ultimately what you want to be doing as a runner. Now, diving into the shoe itself, the Superior 4.0s at first glance are pretty similar to the 3.5s, but when you take a closer look at them, you'll notice that they're very different. I'll get into that here in a bit, but this is actually the biggest jump in an Altra line that I've seen in quite some time, and it's a good jump at that. Altra Superior's line is their low stack version of their trail shoe. The stack height on the Altra Superior 4.0s is a 21mm stack height. They use their Quantic Ultra Eagle midsole on these shoes. It makes for a nice, squishy, plushy bounce ride, very responsive, very lightweight, and honestly, it's one of my favorite midsoles in any shoe that I've ever worn. If you've ever worn their Escalante line, which is the road version of one of their shoes, it's gonna be a very similar feel, and you'll feel right at home in those, as it is the same midsole that they use on those that they use on these 4.0s here. So flipping the shoe over here to the back side of the tread, if you've looked at the 3.5s or are familiar with the Superior 3.5s, it's gonna be pretty similar here, nothing really too new. Very similar lug pattern as what they've used in the past, that they have added their MaxTrack proprietary outsole to the bottom of the shoe. It's basically their own version of, grippiness that they've added to the outside lugs. It's not the best I've ever used. It's not the worst either. It's definitely grippier than the 3.5s. Overall, I like the tread. I don't think it's as big of lugs that I would prefer if I were, doing very, muddy races. But I think if you were to use these on, regular trail, they do more than get the job done. But if you're looking for something super muddy, super thick, you probably want to go with a little bit bigger lugs. From the sole down into the bottom of the tread, I think it's pretty similar to the 3.5s. A little bit more of a plush ride, I think, than 3.5s. But the big difference and the overall, revamp of the shoe comes in the upper. Now, the upper is a one-piece knit upper. It's very lightweight, very durable, which is nice too. So not only is it lightweight, but it's gonna last you a pretty long time. I know the previous models of Superiors, you'd have some blowouts around your pinky toe and around the front. And so far, I've run over 50 miles in these and they still look brand new. I absolutely love this upper. Super comfortable, super lightweight, dries really quick, and it's just all around great. One main difference that you're gonna see from 3.5s to the 4s is the tongue. They use a burrito style tongue. Basically, this just kind of pulls all of the material over onto one side, and I have kind of mixed emotions on this though. So it took a while to get used to, but overall I think I like it. But the main thing to take away with the burrito style tongue is that the eyelets. So there's only 4 eyelets with a kind of weird 5th one up in the corner. So if you're someone who likes to use a runner's lock, it makes doing that a little bit more challenging. Not saying you can't do it, you definitely still can, but it's just a little bit more challenging to do, and it doesn't work as well. So if you're someone who likes to use a runner's lock, you may not like this style tongue. For me personally, I think overall I like it. I have a lot of shoes where the tongue kind of slides down after a while. Using the burrito style kind of holds it all in place. One other kind of small gripe that I have with the lacing and the tongue is that, again, with only the 4 eyelets, there's not as much, secureness down around the forefoot. The previous 3.5 version had 5 eyelets plus the 2 at the top if you want to do a lace lock, and that just gave a closer fit around that forefoot. Here, you kind of lose that a little bit. They don't go down nearly as far, and I think that's something that would have been, better to have in place than to not have here. So I'm a little disappointed in that. Again though, that's just me being picky. I still overall like the design of the tongue and the eyelets that they did here. So another thing that they upgraded from the 3.5s to the 4.0s is in the front of the shoe, they added drainage ports to both sides of the shoe. As you know, in OCR, you're going through water left and right, mud, swims, everything else in between. So having a shoe that can dry and drain properly is key. And I think they did pretty well with this. It's not nearly on the level of, you know, say the older Reebok Spartan shoes or the newer craft shoes, whatever they use now, but it's pretty good. The upper's really lightweight, so that dries quick, and then having those drainage ports up front just makes it that much better. Just like any other Altra shoe, they do also have the gator trap in the back as well as in the front. That way you can attach any of their gators or any other gators to their shoes, just makes it that much easier to use. Going inside the shoe here, in the heel, again, I think they could have done better if you can use a heel lock to kind of get that heel in place, but it does hold the heel a little bit more securely than the 3.5. It's a little bit more of an athletic fit. I just think it feels a little bit better, but pretty similar to the 3.5s. And just like the 3.5s, you do have a removable 5mm footbed. But what I really like about the Superior line that their other lines don't do and most other shoes don't do is have a removable rock plate. So that way you can slide it in there if you're on a really rocky, rooty trail. You're not feeling the ground as much then. So you have that option to either take that out or put that in, and I think that's really great. Most shoes either include them in the midsole itself or they don't have it at all. So I do really like the fact that they include this and give you that option. It is a little bit thinner than the 3.5. So I never really ran with one in the 3.5. I have caught myself running with the rock plate a lot more in the 4.0s. So just something to consider, but I do really like that they give you the option to do so. Now, when I'm looking at a shoe, I like to judge it on 5 key criteria. The first one being durability. So is this shoe durable? I think with the one-piece knit upper that's very lightweight, I think it's pretty durable. I haven't had any blowouts yet. I mean, overall, I think it's a pretty durable shoe. If I had to rate this on a scale of 1 to 10, I would probably rate it at a 7.5. The only reason why I'm gonna take points off is that over time I have noticed that the midsole, even though I love how bouncy it is that it does tend to break down over time. And I've noticed the same thing in my Escalantes. So it will break down in time a little bit quicker than some other shoes. So I do deduct a little bit of points for that, but overall I'd give it a 7.5 out of 10. So the next thing that I like to look at in terms of a shoe is the grip, especially if you're looking at using this for an OCR or anything like that. Grip is very, very important. It's very key to the sport. In terms of the grip, the lugs, you know, like I said, they're not the best, they're not the deepest lugs. The Max Track outsole definitely is grippier than 3.5s, but overall I would just like something a little bit more aggressive, a little bit deeper lugs. So overall for the grip, I'm gonna have to give it a 6 out of 10. The third important category that I'm gonna grade the shoe on is the drainage and how quickly it dries. The worst thing that could happen is during a race is that you're wearing a shoe and it is just a brick on your feet. The first obstacle you go through, the first puddle you're going through on a race, and it's just gonna drag you down. In terms of drainage, the upper dries extremely fast. They added those 2 drainage ports up front, so I'm gonna have to give it a 7.5 out of 10. Basically grading this on Reebok's older shoes. Those things drain better than anything I've ever worn, even though I hated everything else about the shoe. So not gonna be a perfect 10, but pretty damn close, a 7.5. So the fourth thing that I look at on a shoe is the overall design itself. Now, that is everything from the options that they give you in terms of color to just the overall layout of the shoe itself. Now, this comes in at 7.9 ounces, so it's an extremely lightweight shoe. Just to give you a comparison, the Salomon Speedcross, which is one of the most common shoes in OCR and trail running, is a little over 11 ounces, so 4 ounces lighter, so very good on the lightweight design there. Very durable, lightweight upper, dries quickly, pretty decent tread, and you know, yeah, it's not perfect. You have some little eyelet issues in the tongue if that's your preference, but overall, I love this shoe. I've said consistently over the last 2 years that the Superior line has been my go-to shoe for any type of trail running or trail racing, and it sticks here with the 4.0. So for design, I'm gonna have to give it an 8 out of 10. And last but not least, it comes down to price. What good is a shoe if you can't afford it? Now this currently, at the time this video comes in at a price of $110 on Altra's website. So at a price point of $110, it's not extremely high, not really low either. It's kind of in the middle. To give you some comparisons, Salomon Speed Cross 5s right now are 140. Some other Merrell trail running shoes are around the 130 to 140 mark. But you can also get cheaper like Adidas or Nike trail shoes, you know, around $85, $90. So at a price point of 110, I'd say it's pretty reasonable, especially for what all you get in the shoe itself. It's definitely one of the best bang for your bucks. So for the price itself, I'm gonna give it a 7.5 out of 10. So with all those categories out of 10, you have a possible score of 50. For the Ultra Superior 4.0s, I'm gonna give it a total overall score of 36.5 out of 50. Who should buy this shoe? Should you buy this shoe? Obviously, I think anyone who is into trail running, into OCR, this is a great shoe choice for you. Just keep in mind that if you're looking to do very muddy, you know, very crazy terrain, that the grip is not, you know, the best. Maybe you would want to go for a deeper lug, maybe something like their King line or, you know, Innovates that have a little bit deeper tread, a little bit deeper lugs. But all in all, I would definitely recommend this shoe to anybody that I came across. It is still to this day my favorite go-to shoe. So there you have it, guys. That is my first shoe review of the Ultra Superior 4.0s. I hope it helped you if you're looking for new shoes, if you're looking at these in particular. If you'd like me to do a shoe review in the future, leave a comment down below. Let me know what review of what shoe you'd like me to do, and I'll certainly do my best to go ahead and get that review up for you. I do have some reviews upcoming in the future, so make sure you subscribe. Thanks for watching, guys. Till next time, peace.